Hello, and welcome to the prologue of a brand new Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign, Rise of the Blackblades. We find ourselves in the small idyllic village of Ruewick. This place has not known winter. The inhabitants don't remember a time before the current state of things. Everyone sort of has the ancient archwizard Ramos Felvain to thank for the bounty that this town enjoys. Doesn't need contact with the outside world. No one really questions it, except these young whippersnappers of the village who really want to go and we focus on this group of 4 individuals, young kids, who have grown up in this village, are quickly learning the trades of their families. So if you'd like, take a moment and we're going to start with Biri, because I can volunteer for people.
Okay. Biri is the daughter of farmers, one of a set of triplets. She's tall, gold, and
Also a dragonborn.
also a dragonborn. Generally friendly, generally a good neighbor, works hard to be both of those things. Generally up for fun and games once her chores are done. And she's the sturdy one of the group. Bigger than the rest of y'all. Huh?
How about Quint?
Sorry, what'd you say?
How about Quint?
Quint is a mostly quiet youth. He comes from a family of hermits. He is the eldest of 4 children.
Also human.
Also a human. Yeah, vanilla style. And yeah, he like I said, mostly quiet but generally friendly, and probably likes to think he's the toughest, but definitely is not. Pales in comparison to Almighty Dragonborn.
Well, you should hope he's tough. He chops wood for a living.
Mm-hmm. He is son of the woodcutter for Ruewick.
What's his name?
His name, woodcutter. Let me pull it up real quick. I apologize. His name is Grimald Townsend. His wife's name is Eveline Townsend.
Okay. Ant.
Anton Windriver is a half-elf, adopted by 2 humans when he was young, after being found outside of Ruewick, out in the woods, one night when Tempe, his adopted father, found him. After some discussion, he was adopted by this family of 2, where he had a pretty decent life. He was taught to be a hard worker, very friendly towards his neighbors and the town, and is known to get in a little bit of trouble. He's known for being adventurous as well, but only after he makes sure, he handles his responsibilities.
And he is learning to be a hunter?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. His family outside of his parents, it's rather large. Um, it's a 20-member deep family. Um, and they are the prominent hunters and leather workers for the town.
Okay. And Nim?
Oh, Nim is the son of the local carpenters. They are a family of gnomes, tinker gnomes, and he doesn't exactly enjoy the carpentry business. It's not his passion. He'll do the work, but he also tends to kind of need to be supervised to do it. Otherwise, he will sneak off to the local tavern to be entertained by all the people there.
Okay. So, these 4 youths are the focus of our story, and we will start one evening after all of the work for the day has been done. The sun is in the skies, it's setting in the distance. Yeah, it's getting dark. What's happening?
I'm going to guess if it's getting dark, we've probably completed our chores for the day, and Biri is traipsing across town towards the tavern to go find Nim. Keeping an eye out for other friends. Might be coming in from long days in the woods.
Oh yeah,
So-
Ant's gonna definitely go towards the tavern after the day ends, pretty much. Grab a cup of cider or two and hear any, stories and whatnot that might be playing, and keeping the company of his friends.
So, for the record, the place of the only place where you can go and get yourself a drink that isn't homemade is in the eponymous tap house. That's all it is. There's no inn. They don't really serve food. But the owner, Damien Orentor, he is a sort of charmed-looking human with, uncharacteristically, at least for this town, dashing good looks and a winning smile. He is the brewer of the place, and he is quite successful, especially given the imports that he can get from Ramos. Makes all sorts of things: ciders, beers, whiskey, sort of whatever you would desire. And the place is actually quite small. It only holds about 20 people at a time at most, and even then, it's usually not that full. People sort of come and go throughout the day and don't really hang out. But the kids like it. It's a nice little place to hang out and drink well beyond their age.
I don't know about these kids. I'm 35.
For a gnome, you're a kid.
Well learned in the years of other races. He's pretty world-wise in general, but he would be ashamed if there were drinking laws.
Do we mostly pay for our stuff with helping out around the place, since we probably don't have a lot of spare coin?
Usually, yeah, and usually he'll give you one for free.
Okay, excellent.
Sort of a tab system.
Okay.
Get your parents to pay.
That's going to go over well. Biri's probably pretty restrained about her drinking then.
Start a tab.
Yeah, Anton will walk in and kind of take a look around, and see if any of his friends are in their usual spot.
Is Nim here? Is he working tonight?
Nim doesn't actually work in the tap house, but he is here.
Oh. That would be where Biri would have gravitated towards. So if he's there, if he has a usual spot, she's wandered over there. If there's anyone telling stories, she's maybe standing them for a drink.
Then Biri and them would see Anton approach, and he'll give them a wide open kind of like it's almost like an embrace with like his palms out, but like he doesn't actually hug them. It's just more like as he walks up, you kind of see him do that gesture with a smile, and then he kind of clasps his hands together, and then rubs them, as if somebody placed like a steak dinner in front of him, and he kind of just chuckles. Have you guys heard about what they're doing tonight? Songs, stories? Did you order the drinks already? Cider's on their way? Yes? Hopefully, please.
Oh, I only just got here.
Ah, well then before I sit down, let me go and get it. He points
Good
to
man.
Excellent.
Biri.
Yes.
Okay, so we're both down. Quint coming? Anybody heard from him?
Not today.
I haven't heard. I'm sure I'll be here. Get him something. We can pour it down Nim if he doesn't show up.
Always a good plan.
That or I'll drink it myself. But either way, yes. Ciders for everybody. And he kind of just turns around whistling as he moses off to find one of the either one of the servant girls or whoever runs this, or if it's just Oranter or what.
It's Damien, and he has one young lad running drinks. You would actually recognize him as Rogar, one of Biri's little brothers.
What's his name again?
Rogar.
Oh. And yeah, once Rogar goes past, Anton will kind of do that piece of candy face, and with like his lips puckered together, and then we'll kind of like sneak up behind him. Well, not really like sneak, but chase behind him, and then like kind of reach out and tap him on the shoulder, and he'll hold his hand out to Rogar if his hand is free. Hey, Rogar.
So Rogar is in the middle of walking a pair of mugs towards a couple of human farmers off in the back, and when Ant runs up and sort of taps him on the shoulder and almost spins him around, he catches himself from spilling anything, and then looks down at the hand, looks at the mugs, looks up and says, Ant.
Wait, did he spill anything?
No.
Oh. Once he sees that his hands are full, the hand that is actually held out will actually reach out and kind of like clap him on the shoulder lightly, and not enough to like, spill the drinks or anything or weigh him down any to kind of shake it up or make him feel that way, but just, friendly greeting. And he's kind of a little caught off guard, especially by the terse, like, greeting he got back from him, and he kind of like, sets his jaw a little bit, kind of grits his teeth, in a nervous sort of fashion, especially knowing how strong Biri is. He kind of just assumes that, he's probably the same way, even if he might be younger, or even if he might be older. But assuming since he's her younger brother, either way, he's probably pretty strong anyways for being Dragonborn. And he just gives an apologetic smile. Hey, sorry. I was just gonna put in an order. Do you mind? I can help you out in the meantime if need be, but
No, sir. I already have it working. He looks over at the bar. Damien's pouring some drinks. You act like you're not in here every other night.
I mean, it's still polite to ask.
He huffs, and a little gout of flame bursts from his nose.
Just, Anton jumps back. Okay.
Give me a
Right.
minute. He turns around, wanders off.
He kind of just chuckles to himself, and yeah, he looks around after that, making sure that maybe like nobody saw, and then kind of walks back slowly, scratching the back of his head.
Biri saw. She's grinning with all of her teeth. Who you been hitting on? How'd you piss off Rogar?
Apparently, we come in here enough that we don't need to order drinks, and he called me sir. That was really weird.
Oh, you're getting old.
I guess so.
Rogar walks by and sort of like takes the route that is putting him at Anton's back, and then claps him on the shoulder and leans over next to him and goes, "You haven't even seen me pissed off yet."
Ah,
Ahead, goes and gets some drinks.
yeah. Once he does that, he fucking like goes stiff. Like his posture just goes straight as a weed, or reed, excuse me. And he dares not move for a second as he's caught off guard, and kind of gives Rogar a weary smile when he walks off. Okay, I can see why he doesn't like that.
It'll be okay.
Nim will laugh as he pulls out a pre-rolled tobacco product and uses prestidigitation to give it a fruit flavoring before lighting it with the lighter the Tinker Gnomes can create and beginning to smoke that.
So Anton will kind of like run his fingers through his hair and then kind of like sit down and huff before like dramatically laying his arms and his head on the table for a moment.
Biri gives him a pat on the back. Comforting. She won't let her brother beat him up, but she's not going to say that.
How was your guys' day?
Good. It's a good day.
As this conversation gets going, what's Quint doing?
Quint's been booking it across town. Finally having made it out from his window, and just outside of the tap house when he finally makes it there, he has a moment where he just and then the big and opens the door, expecting to see his friends. And when he does, he smiles kind of shyly and as a hey.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, once Quint does that, and Anton kind of enjoys the comfort that Biri's giving him. He kind of like gets up all of a sudden, and like throws his hands up, like a referee, announcing like a touchdown or a goal, and kind of just yells out, "Quit!"
And yeah, he does the fist coming down, the victory fist. Yes, and heads on over and gives Ant a big old bear hug.
Oh my gosh, dude, you're killing me. and he kind of like just kind of like sticks his arms out like he's being like squished, and like he get the like his arms and legs don't have no other place to go before like his arms just kind of wrap under him or under Quint's arms, and he kind of just gives him like several pats, like loud, clapping pats on the back. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Good day to you too. Well, good evening. Da da da. Stop it. Can't breathe.
Yeah. 2 pats later, and he's off him.
While this is happening, Rogar returns with Damien carrying 2 mugs each, and they set them down, and Damien looks at Ant and Quint and quirks a brow and goes, "Oh, are we interrupting something?"
Yeah, it's
I mean, did you want in on this too? And he kind of like holds his hand out between him and.
No, I understand it gets lonely out there in the woods, but I'm well spoken for. Thank you.
So should we be expecting a declaration of marriage anytime soon?
Oh no, it will be. It's with your mom, he says, looking over at him.
Jesus. Well,
And I didn't think she liked cloacas.
Mary whistles under her breath, just real softly.
Oh my gosh! Like Anton's like just slaps his knee at that, laughing.
Part
Like
is I was
really
joking
jolly.
Anton
Like,
and Quint.
it doesn't matter. It was funny regardless.
Oh, I know. I admit this.
That guy, Rogar, he's a special one.
so
Not
what
like-
did I miss?
Nothing. We just order drinks and that's about it.
You're
Right.
not that
No,
late.
not too late.
Yeah. Like we literally been here like maybe 10 minutes, if that. 15.
There's people playing cards in here like an hour or two ago, but
Yeah, I don't see anybody with any kind of instrument or anything, or anybody near the fire to tell a story or anything, so I was hoping for something.
So what took you so long? Did you forget how to work the window? No, seriously though,
No.
are your parents still keeping you in?
Yeah. Dad's been up, it seems like a little bit later, especially tonight, a little later than usual. So I had to wait for him to fall asleep, and then, the creaky window, and yeah.
Well, that's gonna make our late night excursions harder. What the fuck?
I bet we could get you some bear fat or something for the window.
Yeah, I
Keep it
got
from
plenty of
squeaking.
it. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I owe you one.
Yeah. Besides, you don't have to owe me anything I give freely. Screw all that. You're my friend, and he kind of like punches him in like the chest, but not like hard, just kind of like a bro fist in the chest type thing.
All right. Well, we don't have much in the way of cards. There's nobody here with an instrument, so we make our own fun.
I'm down for that. What are you proposing?
Well, he just kind of has a cursory look around the bar.
Well, looks like there's plenty of girls here. We can go, maybe dance, and I'm sure we can find somebody for Biri. I think that one boy over there has a crush on her.
As Damien passes, he leans over the table and goes, I heard Nim's dad's free.
Oh, yeah! Is your dad here, Dim?
Maybe, but his ass is so tight, I'd hate to think of trying to get anything up there.
Oh, wow. Jesus.
Biri whistles again.
Yeah.
Why don't we just play Truth or Dare, and we can hear about Ant's love life again?
What?
I'll go
maybe
first.
The
Ant,
one I...
Truth or Dare? Truth?
Oh, damn it. And he just takes a drink of his cider. And he kind of like sets it down. He kind of like wrings his hands out, and like with nervousness, and then kind of rubs them on his thighs, and then he like smacks his hand together, and he's like, "Dare, damn it."
Oh, whatever. Listen, if no one's singing or telling stories in here, we might as well just take the drinks and go. Yeah, sit down by the river. The weather's nice.
You could throw him in again.
Damien is coming back from where he had gone and says, bring back the mugs.
I always bring back the mugs. She holds up her hands in an injured gesture.
Until you don't.
I swear to you, every mug shall return.
We know the deal. Gosh.
We're in here every other night, someone said.
If you lose the mugs, then I have to go to Nim's dad, and then things just get awkward. He is the carpenter.
Well, maybe you give him a little tickle on the behind. It might loosen things up a little bit. Just saying.
I like your style.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Promise, every mug coming back.
Damien winks. He knows.
And
Rogar does look somewhat like at the idea of Biri being free. He worked just as long as she did today, but he's still here working.
She feels real sorry for him. She blows him a kiss. Mwah.
Hate you.
I know. It's because I'm prettier than you are. It's okay.
You're not wrong.
I'll use prestidigitation on our way out to give us a flashy exit. Possibly with smoke and blinding lights.
How do you have magic, mister? Is that a thing? Do we know that he does that?
Obviously, he does it very brazenly.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember that part where he's a hidden talent? Yeah.
It's all sleight of hand tricks, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's just flash powder and a little smoke.
Yeah.
You never fucking know with gnomes.
Nope. Anyways,
Whenever
Anton gives a wink to one of the girls as he leaves.
As he does, and moves to go through the door, he bumps to a very sturdy person that's standing in the threshold.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Let me just check here, make sure I didn't spill anything on you. And he kind of like, moves the person's shoulder, and that's when he realizes how sturdy they are. He gets a little nervous there for a second. Yeah, I don't think I spilled anything on you.
Good job, says Sandra, the town priest. She pats him on the shoulder and then steps around the group of leaving youths and makes her way over to where Damien is and whispers something in his ear.
Sorry, whose ear did you whisper into?
Damien.
Ah, Biri's gonna give her a bow with actual respect in it. And keep going out the door.
How frequent a visitor is she at the tap house?
Very occasional. You could probably count on your hands the number of times that you've seen her.
Well, that's a bit odd then, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of threw me off guard.
Well, just imagine how off guard you'd have been if you were drunk.
Yeah. Anyways, that's not important. What is important is that river and these drinks.
All right, let's go remedy that you not being drunk situation.
I'm not carrying him home tonight.
I'll carry myself home. I don't plan on getting drunk. I'm not an alcoholic.
No, not yet.
That's the adult life that I'm looking forward to, I guess.
I'd offer to carry him
That's
home,
what
but it'll
I
be more
hear.
like a drag for me.
Yeah, we know you're not carrying anybody.
Look, I'll sleep outside if need be. I'm not too above that.
Meanwhile, you guys are sort of filing outside, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yeah.
Who's at the rear?
I think that Anton would probably walk alongside Nim. Probably just out of habit. Just
Quint-
because he's short.
Charging ahead type, are you the taking up the rear type?
Well, I could tell you. I'm not
Okay,
much
that
of a
didn't come out
taking up
that
the rear.
Not taking it up the rear, just taking up the rear. It's a fucking phrase.
Yeah, it is fucking.
No.
And,
No.
he'll you know what? Yeah, I'll go for it.
Go for what?
Being towards the back.
Okay. The last thing you hear as you step out is Damien calling to Rogar and telling him to mind the bar. And he and Sandra sort of follow out behind y'all after seconds and head off in the direction of Ramos's tower.
Well, that looks important. It's awfully late for a party.
But important enough for our drinks?
You can't drink and walk at the same time.
You know what? I cannot argue that logic.
You want to come over here? I'll just tuck you under my arm and we'll pretend you're drunk.
I'm down for that.
I don't want to know what you two do when you guys get drunk.
I meant like carrying him home. Don't you start.
But yeah, let's go see what they're doing. That might be interesting. We might know something that the rest of the town doesn't know, and that'll be fun.
Usually is.
Does that mean we're stealthing? Yeah, you guys want to roll this stealth?
Sure, if we need to.
And did we need to stealth?
Go ahead and roll it. Could be fun.
So my understanding is we have 10s and everything, unless racial bonus?
Yep.
Okay.
And no proficiency bonus.
Very stealthing real good.
Oh shit! I did a D10. I'm sorry. Wrong game.
Yeah.
Oh, gross. The exact same results, but with different dice.
Man, we are stealthy motherfuckers tonight.
You have a 14? Dex?
Hmm?
Fawn? Dex?
No, it is
Is that the feat?
Oh, is it 12 and you have a proficiency in stealth?
He had no proficiencies as of yet.
it's 11.
Humans do, starting.
No, he's a half elf. Sorry.
Oh, shit, sorry.
Sorry, I took my bad. I chose skill proficiencies. My bad. Just subtract 2 from that.
Okay. Well, whenever you type it, /r space 1d20, no space, because it's just going to be 1.
Okay, hold on. Let me do that again then.
There you go.
Yay!
Okay, so I too sort of turn around and follow after Damien and Sandra, who are moving up towards the tower at a pretty swift pace. And you guys are like trying to stick to the shadows and kind of move in between little gaps between the wooden buildings that make up the city center, the village center, until eventually you make your way out into kind of the open grass and dirt path that lead up towards the tower. And I mean, they don't seem to notice you for what it's worth. Until you all make your way to the until they get to the actual tower, and the door sort of opens by itself upon their approach. And just as Damien enters behind Sandra, he'll sort of turn, look at you all, quirk a brow, and then kind of go, "Shoot," and wave his hand dismissively in your general direction, not at anyone in particular.
Biri prepares to fuck off like the aimless youth she is.
Man, you give up real easily, Biri. Clearly, what he means is that we should,
Get closer
Fine.
and investigate.
Yeah, exactly. He points to Nim.
How much have you had to drink tonight, Nim? I don't feel like gnome chucking is a good idea. Sloshing stomach.
Not that much.
What's how tall is the tower?
What about 70 feet or so?
Say that again. You cut out.
70 feet or so.
Is there any kind of like ivy around it or anything? Like vegetation? Anything to cling on to?
Actually, the entirety of the tower is covered by vibrant green vines that sort of like dig into the earth and trail off as sort of a hardened root system in the ground. But the ivy itself is pretty thick and quite encompassing.
Clearly, we were meant to climb this.
An ant will kind of like walk up, like around the bouts, and then try to like yank on it to get a good testing of it.
It doesn't pull away.
Nim's gonna chug the rest of his drink, and then go, and place the stein down. Clearly, the only one of us that would need to worry about falling off of this would be our large dragonborn friend.
I'm not climbing those vines.
All right.
We are not an arboreal species.
Well, I tell you what. If one of us fall, you catch us.
I'll catch you.
Yeah.
Well, what if 3 of us fall?
I'll still
That's not gonna
catch you.
happen. Yeah, she's like
Just don't fall at the same time, okay?
Well,
Biri has like the strength of like 5 men.
all you
Have you
need
not
is
heard her? Have you not heard of her legend and tales? Come on.
Of course, I remember the tales. Helped write those tales.
You did. They're legendary indeed.
Little do y'all know, this is exactly how George R.R. Martin's homemade D&D campaign went. And
Oh no! No!
the player character who ran Brandon Stark did not think that this was a bad idea either.
No!
But he didn't have a Biri to catch him.
Correct.
That's where he failed. Anyways, is it okay if we take like 10 to do this?
No.
Oh.
Roll it for me.
All right, let's climb us a wall.
Quint is gonna stay behind with Biri, just in case they both fall.
Anton looks heartbroken.
Just lowercase. The knights are not with us tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Well, they're with you. Guess you made the roll room.
I mean, my first roll was like a 7.
Just kidding.
All right, so Nim and Ant both grab onto the vines and begin to climb. Neither of them has very much difficulty. Nim sort of loses his footing every now and then, but I mean, nothing too serious. Nothing that would give those hanging out at the bottom any reason to suspect he might fall. And sort of rappel up a 70-foot tower and grab onto the edge of the top and pull yourselves up. And you find yourselves on a small, like 10 by 10 surface at the top of the tower. It does not appear that there is any way in.
What the? This is weird. And like, and he looks around.
There is, however, a very large, and the surface of it is smooth. It's not like the stone that the tower itself is made of. The surface is smooth with a black, almost marble-like material, and carved into it is an immense rune of some sort that viewer have any clue what it is.
Oh, well, this looks scary. What do you think that is? Nim? And he points to the symbol. You're muted if you're trying to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Sorry, toggling back and forth. Sometimes I accidentally double tap.
No problem.
Some sort of arcane rune would be my guess. But what it does, I have no clue.
All right. We're going to handle this like men. You want to handle it like men?
All right, let's do this.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses has to touch it.
Oh, that? I just go up and touch it.
Ah, I guess you're more of a man than me.
That's what your mother said. What?
Ah. Blast it.
You go You go up and touch the rune, and from where your fingertips press into the gouge in the black stone, a very faint green light sort of extends out and traces the entire rune before vanishing at the opposite end of where you touched.
So the skill proficiencies that were in the background document you listed us, we do not have those yet, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, you simply have a 0 proficiency, so it's kind of a blanket thing.
Fair enough.
It'll the reason I did that was that it would count as your background whenever you actually make a character. For the record, for those who are viewing, they are currently under level 0 rules. They're not very impressive.
Yeah, we stand on top of this mage tower. Haha. Anyways, so what happened?
It's only DC 5 to climb a rope.
Don't steal my thunder. Anyways, what happened to I saw it lighted green, and then what happened to the other side?
It traces the entire rune until it gets to the opposite end of where he touched, like directly opposite him, and then it sort of fizzles out. For those at the bottom, you can't really see anything amiss.
Ant's gonna touch the other side where it ends.
Mm-hmm. Nothing happens.
Huh.
What'd you do that for?
I don't know. Don't know what the fuck to do with this.
Okay,
He kind of like starts like patting his feet, like trying to test like different parts of the stone, like you would do like on wood to kind of see if it's sturdy. Like he's just kind of lost. Like he's just looking around.
So, like when I touched it, the light went around the stone to the other side.
Yeah, it like traced out the entire rune until it got to the other end and then fizzled out.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and try something.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna make a symbol for a letter on just like make a symbol on the rune, see if it matches the tracing I do or whatever. If that does anything else other than just touching it.
You're gonna make a symbol.
Yeah, I'm
How do you
like
mean?
gonna trace a pattern on it with my finger, and then see if that does anything different with the glowing.
Oh, okay. Whenever you touch the stone, any part of it that you touch that isn't like an actual line in the sigil, doesn't glow. But the second that your fingers touch the divot that is carved into the stone, it lights up.
I think it's a signal.
Signal to what?
What are
Like,
you?
nothing.
What are you two at the bottom doing?
So, Biri, the corn's starting to grow tall.
Yep. Good
All
thing
right,
I
back to
thought.
the top.
I think it looks like something that would show another tower of some sort in another town or something. Some sort of way of
But this
sending a
is
message.
flat against the top of the tower. Like nobody would see it.
Well, there's one way to test this. If you're man enough,
What?
trace the whole carving.
You don't think I'm man enough?
Prove it.
Huh. He kind of like lifts his chin, and he goes where he Nim touched, and then traces his finger along the whole run of the rune.
Nothing happens.
Ha!
Okay, fine. Pick me up.
Pick you up.
Well, the thing's kind of tall up there. I don't think I can reach the top of it.
You said you're man enough. Try and pick him up.
All right. He'll pick up Nim.
And then I'll try tracing the whole rune.
For the record, it's flat against the stone. You don't have to.
It's like at our feet.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought it was standing vertical.
Mm-mm.
No.
Never mind the picking me up thing, then.
He picks you up anyways. Good, drops you.
Hold you by the back of your shirt, so you're Mission Impossible.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun,
So Anton just looks at this, puts his hands on his hips, kind of with exasperation. Well, damn.
Does it light up when I trace the whole room, or do anything different?
No, it pretty much just does the same thing.
Is there any?
Although it doesn't dissipate until you take your finger away from it.
An
I wonder if
activate.
this is like a large doorbell.
Somewhere inside, the poor mage is like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm coming! Quit ringing the damn bell."
Dogs barking all the time because, of course, they do when the bell goes off.
Damn it, I'm putting my robe on.
Is there anything outside of the smooth stone, like the area that looks like it might be something?
Nope.
What?
Nothing that you can see. Except for the curly tips of the tendrils of vines that are climbing up the building.
Are there like any windows on this tower?
Curiously, there are not.
Side chat.
It must.
The thing takes up like a 10 by 10 space.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quite large.
Anton just jumps up and down, kind of like stomping both his feet.
Other than the clacks of your boot heels against the stone, nothing really happens.
This is boring. Whose idea was this? Huh? Was it? What?
I think
Yeah.
it was yours.
What do you want?
What's up there?
Can we hear that from 70 feet up?
Depends
Yeah.
how loud they're talking.
Anton like looks over. He's just like all of a sudden. It's like, what?
What's up there?
A whole bunch of nothing. Seriously, climb up here. It's real easy.
Quint looks at Biri.
Yeah, go get it, Tiger.
What are you coming with?
Who's gonna catch you?
Biri, it's real easy. Trust me, you won't fall.
Very, it's real easy. Trust me, you won't fall. I remember that being said to me before the treehouse came down, and I remember somebody bitching for weeks.
Well, today's a brand new day. It's like my
You
word
just
for
want a
today.
reason to
Trust me,
bitch for a couple weeks.
and trust me, today. I promise I won't bitch if you fall.
She looks
Don't worry.
dubious.
If you
He
fall,
gives her.
I'll help you. I'll help carry you home, and no one will have to know that you fell. You just pulled your back pulling corn or something.
Yeah, pulling corn.
Is that what you do? You pull corn, right? That's how corn works.
Anton's gonna
Not-
give her like these really big puppy dog eyes from 70 feet up.
In the dark.
In the dark.
You can't see right now, but I'm giving you the face.
She's gonna go around to the other side of the tower, the side they didn't climb up, just in case, so that if she pulls everything down, she doesn't pull down the ones that she knows are sturdy. She's gonna try and give it a whirl.
There we go. Oh, come on!
It's a dip 5. Come on.
So Quint, with his affinity for trees, climbs up the ivy with no problem. Biri, however, grabs a big handful of these vines
with my strength bonus.
Gets up about 5 feet before the entire thing just does that like halting like pull away, like when we try to pull on vines where the clinging tendrils at the top just sort of like and then pulls and then stops and pulls and then stops until like the whole thing just comes crashing down and you land on your back.
You hear her go before she falls. It's just the sound of Dragonborn distress.
Biri didn't climb up with you? Oh, damn it all. He kind of looks over the other side. Biri, I said this side. Don't know about that side. Why would you go up a side we haven't tested yet?
I'm busy putting these vines back up. You figure something out, fucker.
We'll put them back up and you climb the side we came up.
I am not a... You got it. Whatever you're doing up there.
No, this is the sturdy side. This is the sturdy. Try the sturdy side.
I'm not... You can't get down if I yank the vines off that side. I'm not pissing off a wizard.
Well, use your left hand and not your right hand, or well, whatever. What hand are you strongest with?
It's dark, so you can't see the look she's giving you.
Whatever.
You do see a tiny... You see a tiny, tiny light. 2 tiny lights about the space apart that Biri's nostrils are.
All right, she's mad. Okay, never mind. He kind of just plugs his head back in, like back over, like a turtle sucking like their head in danger. All right, we're just gonna let her stay down there. She'll be okay. We're gonna focus on this.
What is this?
Nim says it's some kind of magical rune. Excuse me, arcane. Yes, I mean, really, there's not. We can't get past this. You don't even know what really this does. Like, you press it, and it lights up.
That sounds cool. Quint pokes it.
Nothing happens.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's cool, but it's
for the record, whenever Ant touches it, nothing happens. It only lights up when Nem touches it.
Oh, shit!
Oh.
Man, what kind of sleight of hand is this shit?
Nim?
The awesome kind.
The awesome kind. Okay. I mean, can you put more awesome into this? It kind of like smacks the room.
I don't know what it is. All we know is it lights up.
I don't know. Like, you usually do that flashy stuff. Try doing that on this.
Sure. I press the digitation bulb, the rune.
When you cast your spell, the spell functions as normal, but the rune doesn't light up.
Have you tried using both hands?
Only last night. I can try that again.
What? Oh my gosh.
We live in a tiny farm village. Don't act like you don't do it.
You mind your business. Destroyer of wizard towers.
Meanwhile, down there at the bottom, as Biri is recovering herself, what do you do? What do you do?
She's gonna try and put the vines back up, like just kind of tuck them in among the other vines to hide the fact that there's a dragonborn-sized hole in the patch.
Gouge.
Gouge. Nothing. And kind of keep an eye on the door at the same time.
While you do this, you immediately become aware of a presence at your back and to your left.
Oh, okay.
Crap, guys, 5-0.
You guys don't see this.
What are you?
She turns to look and see, clutching the vines guiltily.
She sees a red-skinned woman with horns standing there with her hands clasped in front of her, looking at her with sort of a tilted head. Doing?
Little bit of midnight gardening.
Oh,
These
well, I
are,
can help you with that. She sort of steps forward and touches the vines, and they glow green for a moment before climbing back up and taking their normal place.
Oh, can
You know this is Marin Belvane.
The mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. A little bit louder than normal. She's going to say, "Thank you very much, Miss Mayor, for your help."
Oh, fuck.
I was hoping to get a cutting I could take home. These are very sturdy and seem like they'd make good wind protection.
She nods and then reaches into her satchel and pulls out a fist, and then when she opens it, a green sprout sort of plumes up from out of a seed. Roots and everything sort of wrap around her hand, and she offers it to Biri. Like this one.
Yes, ma'am. She's going to lean down and pick up her mug from earlier and hold it out. Make sure it's empty first, and then hold it out for the sprout.
She deposits the sprout into the mug.
A little bit louder than normal. She says, "Thank you very much, Miss Mayor."
Oh, it's no problem. My grandfather does not concern himself with outside distractions.
It's a little late for you to be out. Maybe I can walk you home?
Oh no, I'm here to speak with my grandfather. She smiles.
Oh, I hope everything's all right.
I just happened to hear voices. Came around to see what the hubbub was about. Well, I confess it was slightly amusing.
Can I do a insight to see whether she is the gig is up? Oh man, look how insightful I am today.
You find it rather difficult to get a read on her. Whether the gig is up or not, it doesn't appear that she seems at all annoyed or miffed.
Mira's gonna scratch the back of her neck and say, "Yes, ma'am." Just talking to myself.
Aunt. Did she say the mayor? She said the mayor. If I get caught up here, my dad is gonna put nails on my window. I'm climbing down. But don't punk out. Yeah, but what if she comes up? What if she can do the thing with the symbol on the floor?
Don't climb up yet, or climb down yet.
I climb down on the opposite side. She won't see me. You don't know that.
Don't do it yet. Wait till she's gone.
What if she comes up and sees us? What if she's trying to be here? All right, you know what? Then just go. If you climb down, you get caught. You didn't see us. Well, we're not up
Where
there.
are your
We're not up here.
What? What'd you say?
Where are your friends?
Shit.
You're not inseparable. I see you all the time.
Probably taking a piss without me.
Ah, so that's the secret of Ramos's strong vines.
Control the mayor's tower. Yeah, that's what we do.
The mayor just made a pee-pee joke, so Biri is like almost in tears. She's trying so hard not to laugh. She's officially in love with the mayor. But she doesn't know what to say about that. I won't tell if you won't tell.
She smirks and then looks up and goes, "Oh, dear me, the vines aren't quite just so." And she begins to levitate upwards, upwards, upwards.
Okay, now run.
I'm gonna call. Nobody pee right now.
Shit.
And then she's just gonna like cover her eyes with her hand.
All right, we all gotta pee off the end of the tower.
What?
Yeah, it was a dare. We were playing Truth or Dare, right?
You said nobody. No one ever listens to Biri. Starting on episode 0.
Sounds like a good idea.
End of this thing.
I like this idea, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Oh, damn it. And he, like, walks over to the edge and whips out his dick. not the edge that the mayor's coming up from, I'll tell you that.
Yep. Anton does the same thing. We start peeing off the end of the wizard tower.
Same thing, but I'm going to get far enough away that there's absolutely no chance of splashback from these two much taller people on me.
I know that Quint isn't in the direction of the mayor. Are either of you two in the direction of the
Anton.
well, say mayor? She's not really the mayor. She's just Miss Velvain, sort of the town speaker, not really a mayor, but very important person. Anton is being in her direction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Don't pee on her.
Okay, so
Yeah.
after a moment, she sort of floats up to eye level with Anton and is completely covered urine.
Please prestidigitation the mayor. Please prestidigitation the mayor.
Oh my gosh. Marin?
I'm actually going to start laughing.
I'm sorry.
I can't stop, but I'm sorry. No.
She smiles and clasps her hands behind her back and looks at you and says, "Did you win the dare?"
He looks at her and blushes because he kind of has a small crush on her, and he just peed on her. Because he has a crush on all the ladies.
I'm upset. You might be into it.
Oh no.
Oh. Yes. And no.
Well,
And he kind of just gives her like this bright, awkward smile.
down you go.
Huh?
Down you go.
Down there?
Mhm.
He kind of slowly puts away and buttons up his pants. And he begins climbing down.
And you? And you? She says, looking between Quint and Nim.
Well, I mean, if he won the dare, I guess we didn't.
I certainly don't feel like a winner right now. two
Go on.
shakes, steps back in his pants, heads for the edge, and then goes, "Hang on a second. What's that?" Points to that 10 by 10 on the floor.
That is prosperity. You needn't worry yourself about it.
Does prosperity always glow?
Down you go. She
Then he climbs down.
prestidigitates herself. Repeatedly.
When Aunt gets back down to the bottom, she's like, "I told you not to pee. I said don't pee."
You know that taking a piss is our default answer for everything when we get caught?
You peed on the mayor.
I
am never letting you live that down. Your grandkids are going to know that story.
Well, you know what? That's fine. I don't know what to say right now.
She sort of lands next to Ant and looks over in his direction and says, "An apology would suffice."
I did. I thought I told you I was sorry. I apologize. Again. I apologize, Marin, with all of my salt within me and on my name.
Fair enough.
Oh, gosh. Look, like if you give me your garments, I'll wash them too.
My garments are clean.
Wait, what? What? Already?
I have my ways. Now.
Damn right.
Are you sniffing her?
He was.
He kind of
grabs like the shoulder of her sleeve and kind of like rubs it to kind of like rub his thumb over it. She's dry. What the fuck? Just shrugs. Okay.
She looks around at all of them expectantly.
Biri starts making sure she has all the mugs, every single one. You have a good night, miss.
Yeah, we're gonna be on our way. Hey, you two should apologize just for prosperity's sake.
Yep. Sorry, I saw prosperity.
Wait, you saw what?
Well, that's what she called the thing. The thing on the floor.
Oh, what? As
He
prosperity.
Good night, Miss Mayor. She starts walking off, holding the mugs up. She's gonna
Don't think your parents aren't going to hear about this.
Don't worry about telling them. I'll tell them. It's okay.
I don't believe you, Anton.
Well, that's not very nice.
She's gonna try and grab Anton
urinating on someone.
I didn't know you were there.
Literally drag him off by the ear.
Ouch, 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 ouch. Beer, that's my ear. I need that. Ouch.
What was her name again?
Marin Felvane.
Mind the pointy nails.
Miss Felvane, if my dad hears about this, I'm never going to be able to come out again. Is there some way we can work this out?
Oh, don't be so dramatic, Quint, she says, reaching out and pinching his cheek. Some discipline never hurt anyone, she says with a wink before turning and making her way towards the door of the tower.
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind your discipline. Ouch.
Damn it.
You know, now I want to know what's going on in there more.
Right? Clearly.
Well,
We
that
should not.
sounds like a great idea, since we've already peed on the mayor.
You know what?
Well, look at it like this. Hold on. It can't get worse.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's exactly
can
why we
get
should go
worse.
back. That's
I'm
exactly
pretty
why we
sure
should
it can
go
get
back.
worse.
How worse can it get?
Yeah, we've already peed on the mayor. This can't get worse. We are already in so much trouble. More trouble is not going to be worse.
Man, if we're gonna get grounded or do more chores or whatever, we might as well make it worth it. And besides, I've already popped the cherry for tonight. You three got to follow up. And he kind of crosses his arms and closes his eyes.
The
So
wizard, the priest, the mayor, and the brewer are in that building right now. You know how many of those cherries I want to pop? 0.
There's one for each of you.
So I do have one question, though. Does this mean we need to work on Anson more or less? Because, well, he hit the target. I'm not sure that's the target he wanted to hit.
Every target is a target he wants to hit.
With piss.
He does not discriminate in my experience.
Well, yes, but I was under the impression that he was discriminatory about which fluid he hit them with.
Jesus. Kind of just pushes him. Stop that.
You started it, cherries.
I didn't mean it like that.
It's got.
I meant if you drink too much and too much beer or
Whoa!
whatever.
Did Quint just say that you have a point? You're agreeing with him? Your dad's gonna kill you.
He's already gonna kill me, and I'm not gonna be able to come out again for a long time.
Exactly. So we might as well make the best of this time we have now before we get wrecked.
She looks back to see if the mayor's watching them, leave and talk.
No person is present.
Oh, am I the only one with dark sight? Do I have dark sight?
You do not have dark vision. Anton has dark vision, and Nim has dark vision, but Quint and Biri do not.
Oh, shit.
Is she there?
No, she's not.
She's not there.
Okay, what's your brilliant idea?
I don't have one.
Yeah, we don't have the idea yet, but seize the night.
Yeah, but between here and the tower, we'll come up with something.
You mean the tower going back to?
Oh, well, I mean...
After we've been told twice to chew?
I think we're spent on the tower. She's there and she knows that we were there, so that one's a bust.
All right. Well,
You never heard of cutting your losses.
No!
who's that? Is that somebody else?
Mm-hmm. You all turn to see a grizzled old man with stringy white hair down to his shoulders and a white handlebar mustache sort of make his way up. You know this is Xander Hurst.
Also, at this point, I think even if we cut our losses, we are past the point of no return. So anything further that would happen would probably not be that much of a deterrent.
Don't fight logic with old people. It's not a good idea.
Good evening, Mr. Hurst. We were just cutting our losses.
What?
Just now.
Gosh. Oh.
That's what I thought. He walks up to Nim and looks down at him and says, "You know, when you step on a bear trap, it might not be able to get any worse, but it sure as hell doesn't make it get any better."
Wait,
I don't suppose whatever you're doing in there needs a willing hand to help?
He looks over at Biri, as if to say, "What do you think?"
She shrinks.
Anyways, I think we'll be on our way, Mr. Hurst. You have a good evening. Thanks for your wisdom.
I like your spirit, kids. Don't worry, it's nothing earth-shaking. Boring old people with boring old people problems.
Past their boring old bedtimes.
Yeah.
2 hours and counting.
But it's the 5 most interesting, boring old people in town altogether.
Can I, when he says, that's a good point. When he says 2 hours and counting, can we guess he means it's about 2 hours past their bedtime? Or does that seem kind of arcane? Like based on what time of night it is?
2 hours past his bedtime.
Okay.
What time
past
is it
his
actually?
It's
Around what time
mid-evening.
is it actually? Oh, okay.
It's like 9,
Oh.
10.
Well, we can always go back to the lake, I guess. Let's stop and get some refills from...
Watch for them bear traps.
Yeah.
That's why we keep Ant around.
Wait, Ant, are there really bear traps out there?
Yeah, how do you think we get bears sometimes? We got traps to catch gnomes and traps to catch, ladies like Biri and even giants like you. Well, ogres like you, Quint.
Ogres.
Xander looks back and says, "I think he means his penis," and then continues on towards the door.
Oh, good. Now we're calling Quint Ogre Penis. It's going to be a good night.
Did that all
Wait,
kind of...
Meant Ant!
Just for the record, my ass is exit only. Fuckers.
Not interested in your ass, Nim.
Biri's
So-
humming to herself experimentally, like she's trying tunes, like she's trying to fit something to words that are in her head.
I don't know. It's not what the old man said, Ant.
Let's not skip past the point where the old guy was looking at Ant's hang down.
My hangdown's in my pants.
He meant it as a metaphor because Ant was talking about like
Oh,
bear traps and gnome traps and women like Biri traps and
my bad.
I mean, I feel like the adults of the town are now all pretty familiar with Ant's penis, which is which is naturally how we're starting out this campaign.
Speaking of which, it can be assumed that you guys sort of piss away the rest of the evening, getting drunk, and then going home for an uneasy night's sleep for some of you less so. The next morning dawns, and this is where we will sort of split up the action, so to speak. Let me see. Anton, you awaken at the crack of dawn, probably much to your chagrin. You're aroused by Tempe. He tells you it's time to go. See if you can bag some game.
Oh, Dad, please. I need a little bit more time. Maybe like an hour.
Always say the deer don't wait an hour, son. Let's go.
Hold on, I gotta take a pee real bad. And I need to wash my face.
Get yourself straight, son. Come on.
he kind of like groans as he rolls out of bed and kind of like does that whole like penguin walk, like zombie like to finds like wherever they go to use the bathroom at, does it, washes his face, and then puts on his work clothes and grabs his bow.
They go to use the
And
bathroom at? You mean the mayor?
Ah,
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, and he stands next to his dad and he kind of looks out where they usually go at, and then he just looks at him. Dad,
ah.
I pissed on the mayor.
He looks over at him and quirks a brow. Really now?
Yeah. I just wanted to tell you
Snack?
that before.
It's an accident, I hope.
Yeah. It was.
Was she impressed?
She didn't give any inclination.
Nah, she never does. Come on, we ain't got time to worry about that.
I knew you'd be okay, Dad. He kind of like, he kind of has a little bit more stride in his step, having gotten that off of his chest. And
So you
follows
guys-
his dad.
You guys sort of push into the woods that your cabin is situated at the edge of, and sort of stalk through it for about 30 minutes. He's gonna stop and kneel down at the edge of a game trail and sort of look over at Anton, and then tap the ground and then point to him.
Mm-hmm. He'll basically try to pick up the trail. And
We'll survival check.
yeah. No. See?
Man, don't you wish we were using rolls?
So
No,
you guys-
because it would have been the same thing.
So despite your 2, you look around, you try to catch the game trail. Tempe sort of guides you to pick up said trail. As you guys are doing this, bounding of a heavy animal through the underbrush, and both you and Tempe sort of startle as a creature that you've never seen before sort of bursts out of the underbrush. It's like a deer, but it's a little bit larger and has sort of fuzzy antlers and not pointed like the deer that you're used to. Not, they don't look hard. But this creature seems to be covered, and I mean like covered in snow and frost, and its nostrils have like a pair of small icicles hanging off of them as it bounds past you, and you know it to be in panic. You've spooked enough deer in hunts trying to hit them and missing that you know what that looks like.
He spooked him.
Tempe
that?
Tempe sort of pulls you away. He looks off after it as it sort of passes you. He goes, I don't know.
You
Still get
never
it.
seen anything like that?
Not around here.
You want to go get it regardless?
Looks like good eating either way.
And and then he'll actually like kind of like loosely notch an arrow, and then kind of gives the nod to his dad. All right, let's go get it.
Guys track this creature, and you come to a small glen that you're pretty familiar with. It's a good place to get some drinking water, and skin a kill. There's a small, as you sort of take up the position, you see it sort of huffing and taking a drink from the water. Roll a perception check for me.
Jesus.
So, as you sort of settle in to your ambush position, you don't really notice anything amiss, but Tempe holds his hand out and touches your shoulder, and then gestures for you to get down. He's looking not at the deer, but sort of in the woods in the direction on the opposite end of the glen, and he sort of steps out and then looks at you and holds his finger up in the sign of shh. And you see men exit the stand of trees directly in front of you, up about 50 yards. The deer, the caribou, bounds away when Tempe makes himself known, and then these men show up. And Tempe holds up his hands because these men have crossbows, and they're aimed directly at him. And you hear him sort of go, "Gentlemen, what is this about?" And then one of the men shoots him in the knee with the crossbow, and he falls down in pain. And the others sort of move to capture him. What do you do?
How many men are there?
About 10.
Holy shit.
And not all of them are engaged in the activity of capturing. A couple move forward with some shackles, and the one is reloading his crossbow, and another's trained on Tempe, but the other 5 or so appear to be sort of fanning out and looking around. For the record,
Anton.
these men are, real fast, these men are pretty well armored. Their breastplates sort of glisten in the sun from this glen, and they all look relatively pale compared to what you're used to. The people of Ruewick are, and they're not afraid of a little sun. These guys don't look like they've seen as much sun, and they all are uniformed, if that makes sense. Like they have black cloaks with a symbol of a silver fist clenched on them, and you're not sure what this symbol is.
Okay. Panicked. He knows that just running out there would probably either get him shot and get his father shot. And he's definitely no good getting captured. So, Anton's going to slowly try to back away, but try not to. He's going to try to do his best not to kind of like leave any trail as he moves.
Roll stealth.
Oh man, come on, Bon.
You can do it.
Come on, dice.
You did it, probably.
Yes!
So you back away slowly and manage to avoid drawing any attention to yourself. The men don't move in your general direction, and with the underbrush and the trees sort of helping you, you manage to break away.
Yeah,
What do you do?
he's going to find a position where he can basically watch, and he's going to try to see if they say, like, he's going to try to stay in earshot so he can try to make out if they say anything. But he also want to make sure that he could follow them, because that's probably what he's going to end up doing.
Okay. So eventually these men shackle up Tempe and drag him, a pair of them drag him through the woods, and it seems like they are making their way towards Ruewick. And the sort of banter that they have is very militaristic. It's not really like, hey, you know, I really like the weather down here. It's more of logistics and men sort of coordinating with each other to navigate. Meanwhile,
okay.
Yeah, they're going towards Ruewick, and you're following them.
Yes.
Okay. Meanwhile, Quint. You awaken, sort of on cue. You're pretty trained at this point to sort of snap awake at dawn, and you know, your father sort of has ingrained in you and get ready to go out and do your thing. You two usually go as a pair. When you awaken, you are in a sort of a common area, like there's a common sleeping area. And your father, Grimald, is already lacing up his boots.
Yeah. Quint will start sliding on his, I suppose you could call it a tunic. Start sliding on his tunic and tightens up the laces, bracers next. Make sure he has his hand axe that he uses for woodcutting on his belt.
Mm-hmm. Grimald doesn't really say anything to you, but when he's ready, he will grab his axe and heft it on his shoulder and sort of look at you and wait until you're ready to go. He doesn't want to wake the women folk.
Mm-hmm. And he heads towards the door with him with a silent but knowing nod.
So you two head out into the forest, looking for a stand you've been working on. Again, you know, you two are careful to replenish the force as you go. It's a Townsend tradition, so to speak. So when you guys reach the sand, do you say anything to him along the way?
He's curious. He looks back at his dad several times, but you know, yeah. He says, before we go any further, I wanted to say something, Father. I snuck out last night.
Grimold sort of stops and plants the axe head into the ground, puts both hands on the shaft of the axe, and looks at him curiously. Sternly, but curiously.
I wanted to see my friends, and we got in more trouble than I thought we were going to get in, and I thought it would be better if you heard
What
it.
have I told you?
He looks down.
We've been over this 1,000 times, Quint. An early start. He sort of waits for you expectantly to finish.
I got nothing.
Makes for a productive day. What is more difficult when you're out all night?
An early start.
And with alcohol, I assume?
He kind of casts his head aside.
I'm disappointed in you, son. Picks up his axe and sort of shoulders past Quint.
He balls his fists, just in silence and grimaces, and follows.
So you guys make it to your stand probably without much more conversation, and begin your day's work. After about an hour, the two of you hear a voice call out from behind y'all. Well now, what do we have here?
Spins around.
You see a man that has this armor on himself. You've never actually seen somebody with armor on. It's something out of one of the tales you might hear at the tavern, something that Damien might spin. He has a he's got a sword at his side, and he's something of an older gentleman. His face is still youthful, but his hair is stark white, and it's shaved at the sides and sort of slicked back. He's wearing these dark goggles, and he's smiling at you.
I assume Grimald is with them.
Mm-hmm.
Given the conversation,
yeah,
he's going to look at.
Yeah, Grimald sort of spins around and looks at him and doesn't really know what to make of him. And the man sort of tilts his head, smiles a bit wider, the little sidelong grin, teeth and everything. And he steps forward and holds out his hands and says, Oh, I meant no offense. And Grimold sort of narrows his eyes and says, "You've given none." The man sort of steps forward and goes, "Father and son?" Grimold nods and he looks. The man looks over at you, Quint.
Yeah, he's taking up a bit. He doesn't look too spooked visibly, but like he very clearly is a bit more. I don't know. He's not exactly calm.
Easy now, son. There's nothing to be afraid of. My friends call me Dugray. He looks at Grimold. Grimold says, "Grimold Townsend, this is my son. What business have you here?" And as he says that, a pair of arrows fly out from behind Dugray and hit Grimold in the chest.
No!
Just one after another. Thunk, thunk. And he immediately sort of falls to his knees. Dugray sort of tilts his head and goes, "Oh, now why you ruin all the fun?" And turns and looks at the tree line, and you see this half-elf woman sort of slide out. Her armor is this really, really stark, almost platinum-looking chainmail. And her bow is very ornate. Looks like it's almost carved out of ivory. But you'll notice that she's knocking another arrow, and the tip appears to be made out of some black substance. And she has a very unamused look on her face and looks over at Dugray and says, "We're not here to have fun, Dugray."
And before she made her appearance, Quint would have gone for his hand axe and just sort of braced himself. But as soon as she makes herself known, he starts to back away rather quickly.
Dugray sort of holds his hand out and sort of a halting gesture to this woman and says, "He's no threat, Vazra. We can have a little fun." He turns and looks back at Quint. Says, "Sorry about the old man, son. It's just business."
Business?
His smile widens a little bit. "We got business here."
You're from beyond the woods.
He looks up, looks around, and says, "Yeah, I guess we are." This entire time, he's sort of like stalking towards you. Like, not really fast, every now and then a step. And his hands are still out to either side. Like, and that, there's nothing to be worried about. Calm down, sort of body language. Meanwhile, a tug at your arm, and Grimold looks at you and goes, "Run home. Get the girls."
He like bares his teeth, a bit misty-eyed, and like looks from his father to this Dugray man, and immediately pulls a 180 and books it.
Whenever you get that look in your eye, like you're about to run, Dugray sort of tilts his head and goes, "I wouldn't do that if I were you. Vazra here's a great shot."
No. His dad told him to do a thing.
Come on,
He's
son.
gonna book it.
You look like you really, really want, don't you? Come on now. I won't hurt you. See what you're made of.
He's gonna take a swing at him.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
Oh, no, not him, the lady with the bow.
He's between her and him.
So it's gonna be a D20.
Every weapon is a ranged weapon if you hold it right.
Plus nothing, but
I like the way you think, MA.
pretty sure that doesn't make it.
Yeah, you run up and you swing your hand axe at him, and he just sort of like does a little bunny hop backwards. His hands are still out to either side. And he goes, "Oh, that's a hell of a swing, son." And he sort of leans forward. He's still grinning. He goes, "Try again."
Tries it again.
So this time you get sort of an overhand swing, and he just sort of like whips his arm up and smacks it away with his gauntlet. You just sort of hear the clang of your hand axe meeting his gauntlet, and it sort of throws you off balance for a second. And you hear Vazra go, "Stop playing with your food." And he goes, "I'm getting there. Come on, son, you can do better."
And yeah, till he hears otherwise, yeah, he's gonna make an unarmed strike for the dude's face. Ow, nothing.
Yeah, you just get this, like, from your off balance position from that last deflection, you just sort of whip around and try and hit him, and he ducks out of the way, and then he's gonna. I'm not using that, I'm using this. Okay. So he just comes up with on the side of his head, just open-handed with this gauntlet, and just rings you for 4 points of bludgeoning damage, non-lethal.
Yeah, he only has 1 health point, so he goes down.
Yeah, he just hits you, and everything just rings, and you're sort of seeing double and triple, and you collapse to the ground, just sort of in such a way where you see Grimold sort of crawling towards you, and Dugray sort of kneels down in front of you, rests his arms on his knees, and looks at you and says, "Well, that was a valiant effort, son. I can't even complain about it. You do worse than some others I've met." He sort of leans forward and goes, "Between you and me, I don't really care for all this nonsense. Killing kids, that ain't my style."
Yeah, as soon as he says that, if, well, I know, mechanically be below health. Can he run? Can Quint run?
No, you're basically unconscious, but this is sort of a hand-wavy, dramatic thing.
So, yeah, he's pretty much on the ground, just teeth gritted, breathing through it and grunting.
He says, "Karna's got greater purposes for me. About her," he says, pointing over his shoulder with his thumb, "I make no promises." And he stands up and sort of begins walking away. And as you sort of like look bleary-eyed and verging on the edge of unconsciousness, you see this half-elf sort of kneel down and into Grimald's heart. And then carve off one of his ears and put it into a satchel. And then everything goes black. On to Biri.
Yes, sir.
Well, things can't possibly get worse, can they?
Can I say I'm up at the crack of dawn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's up at the crack of dawn.
So-
She's a farmer's daughter.
So, yeah, so you awaken, and there is a whole lot of hustle and bustle about the Kepeshmolik compound, so to speak. Lots of different people going about their business. And you head out into the fields and begin whatever it is you do. I mean, you can describe what your farming activities are. I don't know if it's livestock or crops.
Probably a little bit of each. Though she's older now, so she's probably doing more of the heavy lifting around the place. Yeah, her younger brothers will probably take care of the livestock. But whatever it is, practiced at it and knows her chores and her routine and goes at it quickly and efficiently without a lot of fuss.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, you go out and you begin work with Tiri and was it Gellar?
Mhm.
And your father. And as this is sort of going on, your beloved grandmother is sort of sitting in a chair off to the side, sort of watching y'all and, every so often giving kind encouragement between whatever she's doing and paying attention to you younger folk. And this goes on for a while, probably 3 or 4 hours. And eventually, roll me a perception check.
Okay. Teen.
Yeah, as you're sort of like pitching some hay, you'll notice that the forest off to the north, where you know that Anton and Quint live, you'll see a bunch of small figures sort of make their way out with purpose. Initially it's 10, 20, and then it starts to become worrisome, like then 100. And
People?
yes.
Like
And
gnome-sized or like human-sized?
No, like human-sized people.
Oh, shit.
Glinting in armor. And from one of the stands of trees, actually for a while you could sort of see the birds sort of fluttering away as something large is moving through the trees. And eventually a large, and I'm talking like 17-foot tall creature, sort of breaks from the tree line with all these human-sized individuals. Its skin is blue and it has multiple heads. It's got a Norse look about it, long braided beard and horned helms and that sort of thing. It's carrying a massive maul. There looks to be like a sort of aura of cold vapors trailing on after it. as it makes its way towards the city center. And for your part, you see about 10 of these individuals branch off and make their way towards your farm. What do you do? They also appear to have a wagon with them with a large cage on the back instead of canvas.
When people start popping out of the tree line, she stands up to look because she's used to people popping out of the tree line. She's used to it being people she likes. When she realizes she doesn't recognize any of them, she stops what she's doing. And when more appear, and there's quite a lot of people that she doesn't recognize, which is pretty much a first, she hurries towards her father, kind of moving the corn to get the attention of the others. This is startling, and though her family's passed around legends of battle for, her whole life. There's never been anything like this before. She doesn't know what to do. So she tries to get the attention of her family.
Yeah, her father's going to, he's checking the corn, and whenever you reach him, he looks at you with like this sort of look like, what? You look like you've seen a ghost sort of look.
She doesn't say anything. She puts a finger to her lips and points toward the tree line.
What is it?
There's a lot of people. Armor.
His eyes narrow concernedly, and he begins to hurry through the corn rows back towards the place where he can sort of see out over the land, and sees this coming. And he looks sort of concerned, obviously. He looks over at you and says, "What do you think? What do your instincts tell you?"
Looks like trouble. That's my instincts tell me. Looks like a lot of people to feed. And she's going to snap off an ear of corn and hand it to him. She's keeping her voice down, but as far as she's concerned, a lot of people to feed means people who are probably going to be interested in taking food. And then she glances back towards the house where mother and grandmother and any littles are.
Roll me a perception check, please.
Mm-hmm. 13.
Okay. So you don't hear anything. But it's about this time that whenever you grab this ear of corn and offer it and say what you say, you hear a strange like spurt and gurgle, and you look over to the side and you see that your father has had his throat cut somehow out of nowhere.
Oh shit.
And he just sort of grasps at his neck and then falls to his knees. Appear to be a culprit.
She's gonna grab him and try and like clap her hand over the bleeding, as useless as that is.
He sort of looks at you desperately, and then weakly pushes at you before expiring very quickly.
Okay, where's her younger brother? Does she know where he is in the fields?
You have a vague idea.
she's going to start running toward the house, keeping... I mean, she has no idea where the fuck that came from, but she's got pretty long legs. So she's going to hope she can outrun it. She's going to start running toward the house, keeping low in the corn, and if she can scoop up her younger brother on the way, she will.
The cornfield is... I mean, you have a whole family unit out there,
Sure.
consisting of several clans that sort of tend to... you'll notice that there is smoke beginning to rise in various places in the cornfield.
No shit. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of family out there. She doesn't stop to take care of them because they are dragonborn and better be taking care of themselves. So she's gonna make for the house as fast as possible, and anybody she can grab along the way. She's not as concerned with the corn as she is with people at home.
So you managed to get to the compound, and your grandmother's there, very close. You can grab Siri and Tiri. Rogar is out in the field somewhere, and a few. Your mother's there. You do have a mother, right?
Mm-hmm. Rhea.
Yes. Just making sure because I don't remember that from your document.
No, it wasn't in there.
And other clan mates are also within earshot. What do you do?
She's gonna not shout, but as quietly as she can, start be like runner attack.
I mean, there are varying stages of alarm. I mean, these is that that blind that you can't see all this going on. But it's more of just sort of a stunned confusion as to what's going on.
Sure.
What are you doing?
Hundreds of them go to town. Run. She's going to try and grab one of her twins to pick up the grandmother. If there's any kind of a... Yeah. If there's any kind of a seller, they'll just pick up the grandmother and try and head for town.
But
as quickly as possible.
As you guys sort of grab what you can, including the grandmother, this procession of armored men seems to be within about 100 yards. And as you go to run towards town, individuals holding short swords sort of step out of the cornfield and drop torches to the ground.
Shit.
These seem to be the culprits that have been setting your fields on fire. They basically are wearing no armor at all, and are very confident in their abilities as they are impeding a bunch of Dragonborn.
The people who are running towards town, they're stopping them?
Yeah. So you're standing up at the homestead.
Go away, William. Did I fix it? How about now? Okay, sorry. I apologize. She's going to try and hand off her grandmother to Gellar, and pick up a pitchfork or anything sharp and bladed that she can get her hands on, and point them back inside. Hide. hide then. Keep an eye out for fire.
They sort of nod, and Syrian Terry escort grandmother into the home. Galar stands beside you and looks at you unconfidently.
Hide, keep an eye out.
I'm not gonna let you stand out here by yourself.
Don't be an idiot. There's way more of them.
Why do you get to be an idiot?
Because I'm bigger than you.
How does that matter at all?
Shut up.
There's
We needed someone to keep an eye out. If they set the house on fire, you got to get them out of here.
them.
What did he say? There's what?
So many of them.
Yeah, I'm going to surrender.
He looks at you like incredulously.
Doesn't mean it's going to work.
As this is happening, the men are now within speaking distance. He goes out and says, "Drop your weapon immediately."
She steps in front of him and she says, as she does so, she's like, "You want to be the one to surrender? Come on, you keep the pride." So she's going to step in front of him and drop her weapon and hold her hands up.
The man that sort of nods and then looks over at some of the others and gestures towards the house and then points towards the two. And it's at this point that Rogar sort of bursts from the wheat that these guys are cutting through. I mean, they're basically waist high. It looks like he had been, and then attempts to jab his pitchfork into one of the men and spears him pretty good. It actually gets right into the crevice of the armor, the underarm, and the man screams in pain and falls down. Roll initiative.
Okay. How much XP, HP did you say I have?
1 plus 2.
Okay, 3.
So
Thank
3.
you. Hey, that's the same as my initiative. Yeah. Feeling mighty today.
Okay. So as this man sort of side, one of the others draws his sword, which is also like midnight black, and strikes out at Rogar and wounds him severely. Let's see. Slashes him right across the chest, and Rogar sort of staggers away, looking entirely like defeated. You know, someone just takes that first hit and you just know that they can't do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happens. The wound looks incredibly grievous. And then another one, initiative above you. And then another one just sort of walks up and delivers the coup de grace, cuts off his head as he's kneeled down.
Mm-hmm.
Two more approach you and say, "Get in the dirt."
What did her brother do? Where is he? Did he go inside?
Nah, he's still behind you.
She's gonna growl, "Go inside," and she will start to move down the steps toward the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's complying, but she's listening to make sure her brother gets inside.
Okay. He is going to run inside.
Mm-hmm.
And Biri, I assume, gets in the dirt.
Mm-hmm. She'll kneel on one knee.
Okay. So she kneels down and men walk up to her with a set of manacles and goes to shackle her.
She's gonna grab for the arm of the nearest one. She's not trying to do damage or yank him around, but she's gonna stop him.
Mm-hmm.
What business is this?
Shut up. Get in the dirt. She's going to feel a boot in the back from another one if she doesn't get down.
She will let them manacle her. She's keeping an ear on the house. Both ears on the house.
Okay, so while she's manacled, one of the men has her sort of pinned down, and then the leader of this group, who strange black skull sigil on his armor, very small, kind of at the one of the shoulders, gestures to the house and says, "Burn it."
Okay. When he says that, she's going to burn him.
Okay.
And as much as she can get in that cone.
Okay.
So she's going,
Dexterity?
before she does, she's going to yell, yeah, please. She's going to yell, not fire, and then let go with her fire.
That was a 3 and a 1. Neither of them make it. Roll damage.
Okay. 2d6. So her yelling not fire was to hopefully warn her family in the house. There's that kind of like primal scream of shit's about to go down. That was a pretty good roll.
Okay. Yeah. You blast fire and you catch this more important looking individual and one of his soldiers in this gout of flame, and the one just begins to run around and scream and eventually collapses in the wheat, which begins to take. The other guy sort of like rolls aside and brushes away most of the flames with one flick of his cape. He looks charred, but doesn't look particularly wounded. And he is going to walk up and drive his sword into you. Or try to.
Okay. Can I try and headbutt him?
Nope.
Okay.
I can tell you're on the ground. You
Fair
are
enough.
prone. So, yeah, he skewers you into the ground. You just feel this in your back. And things go dark.
Oh, good point. They do have fire resistance. Good point. That does make me feel better.
Okay, and so we will segue from that to Nim.
Hi, how you doing?
At this point, there is a general panic in the town. That you've been in town with your family.
That's generally where I would be, with the not being able to get a sneak out yet.
Yep. So, yeah, you and your mother and father have awakened, like any other day. Your dad tells you what a total waste of your life you are, engaging in the family business, not wasting your life, so to say, but wasting your potential.
Yeah.
And, your mother makes excuses while she makes these, for this town, probably ridiculously over fancy fruit in them.
Sounds about right.
And pampers you totally while it's happening. So your father sort of slips away into the workshop. By the way, the panic has not yet happened yet. But
yeah, I figured. Otherwise, there's going to be some weird. Yeah, I eat the breakfast, fiddle with my tinkering stuff because I'm sure I have a couple of. I at least have the lighter as a tinker gear. Then just go about normal morning day stuff.
what does that consist of?
Well, begrudgingly, I'm part of the family business.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much until I can, conceivably say I worked and did something and then slipped away, assisting with the carpentry business.
Okay, so head off into the workshop and begin your daily routine, probably with a whole lot of heaving and sighing and rolling of your eyes and my goodness, life is so terrible.
Yes.
And this goes on for a couple of hours. I assume that some point there's a commotion from outside that would draw you out into the street. People begin to scream, and you'll immediately notice that there is smoke on the hill from where the farmland is.
Oh shit!
What do
That's
you
where
do?
Biri lives. I go and investigate. I go towards that.
So you go outside, is my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Outside, you see smoke. You feel a sort of tremor. Like, you don't even have to roll perception for it. You just feel it. And then another. And then another. And then another. And it seems to be picking up in pace. The street that runs in the middle of this little village, it's only about 15 or so of these houses and tap house and all that that's in this little center cluster of buildings, where the more craftsman aligned folk live, not involved in farming or hunting or anything like that, towards Ramos's tower. And you see this giant creature, blue skin and multiple heads, just smash headlong into a shoulder tackle against the tower, and it quakes, and the stonework begins to shift and crack, fall from between the vine ledges.
Huh. That is a very large problem.
What do you do?
Well, the closest person I can think of that would probably have any ability to do anything would probably be our good brewmaster.
Mhm.
So I would head to the tavern.
Okay. So as you begin to make your way hurriedly up the street towards the tap house, you'll notice that in the wake of that giant shoulder checking the tower, that the sky begins to crack visibly with dark, streaky lines.
What the actual fuck?
The giant pulls the massive maul from his back and then slings it into the tower, and it's like hitting a giant stack of Legos with a sledgehammer. It's just bricks and debris go flying as the tower shattered, left only a stump, and the sky shatters with it. Immediately, you are assaulted by a cold that you have never experienced in your life. There appears to be a strong wind that blows in snow from out of nowhere. And what you see is a small cluster of buildings, like the one that where your actual village is, and everything around you is an inhospitable forest on a mountainside in the middle of a blizzard.
Well, that's a thing. That's a thing I have absolutely no idea how to handle. So I'm going to continue doing what I was doing before, because that's the only thing that makes sense to do.
You burst into the tap house. The door flings open with the force of the wind that is now shooting between all the buildings. You almost struggle to actually keep your footing as you're walking through this knee-deep snow that's all of a sudden in front of you and around you. The immediate thing that you notice is that a handful of the villagers have taken up refuge in here, and they look absolutely confused and petrified by what they see outside the door when you throw it open.
Yeah, yeah. Is Damien in there?
He is not.
Has anyone seen Damien?
Do you ask?
Yes. Sorry.
The general consensus is all sorts of what's going on. You know, what is that out there? What is happening? People clamoring around you. Your question almost seems to be drowned out in the hysteria. Roll a charisma check.
Just straight charisma?
I mean, you don't really have a
Yeah, that's true.
proficiency bonus, but you can flavor it however you like. You can be intimidating. You can try to be persuasive and calm the crowd. Whatever you want to do.
Not very well.
What's it going to be? You're going to try and calm them. You're going to try and intimidate them. You're going to try to lie to them and tell them it's all right. What's the modus operandi?
Probably calm.
So you try to keep the peace and tell everyone to calm down, that everything's going to be all right and all of this. And it just doesn't seem to take. As the wind blows out some of the windows and the cold snow begins to building.
In that case, I'm going to go pour myself a really, really stiff drink.
Okay. So you head behind the bar, and as you take one of the mugs from behind the bar and begin to pour from the cask that's sort of held up at the back of the bar, you hear the distinct sound of a pair of boots stomping on the wood floor of the tap house, and you hear a voice say, just his voice sort of booms out unnaturally loud, and the crowd immediately silences, and you hear, "There's a family of gnomes in this town. Where are they?"
Crap. Hello?
Yells.
Oh, sorry. I sounded like that got cut off. Yeah, that guy can go ahead and talk. I'm going to stay behind the bar.
Okay, are you going to hide?
Yes. Maybe start fingering that lighter that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Take the drink with me, because it seems like it's going to be one of those days. Yep. Ah!
Well, that's real good.
Yeah, townspeople are probably going to sell me out, though.
You hear an almost immediate murmur, and then ring out like, "One of them was just in here. I don't know where he went." And then another one goes, "You're probably talking about the Nackles. They're right up the street." And you just hear, "Thank you kindly." And then on the doorpost, and the boots recede away.
I'm going to stay in my hiding spot. And I mean, how many people did it sound like came in?
What's that?
How many people did it sound like came in?
Just the one.
Oh. Huh.
How long do you stay in your hiding place?
Well, I mean, the crowd pretty much sold me out, so
Mm-hmm.
I
So
don't.
how long do you hide?
I don't think there's any way I can get to my family.
How long do you hide in
as long as
space
possible.
here? Okay, so
I was explaining the reasoning why I was doing that.
it's fine. I just needed to know a time frame. After about 5 minutes, you hear more boots and the telltale jingle of chainmail as of individuals begin to march into the place, and you hear a voice go, "Half of them, keep the rest." And then
what was
the
it?
sounds of kill half of them, keep the rest.
Okay.
And then the sounds of swords meeting flesh, screams, and general pandemonium.
Eyes closed. Another really stiff drink.
Okay. So after about 5 minutes of this, and crying men, women, children, sort of just being dragged out of the building, quiet.
I'm fairly traumatized, so I'm probably going to stay here for a bit.
Okay. So, how long do you wait?
Probably an hour.
So after about 30 minutes or so, after the slaughter that assumedly took place in the tap house,
I didn't say it didn't happen.
you hear boots once again.
Okay.
What do you do?
Well, the hiding has seemed to work for me so far.
Mhm.
So I'm going to continue going with that.
Okay. So eventually the boots sort of make their way around the bar, and you will see with an ashen look on his face.
Sorry, who's there with an ashen look?
Damien.
Oh, shit.
From the sounds, it sounds like just one pair of boots.
Yeah, it's just him.
Damien?
He sort of like jumps a little bit at the voice and then looks down and says, "What are you doing here?"
I came looking for you.
He just seems stunned for a moment and then snaps out of it and says, "Come now, it's safe."
Head pops out. Look left. Look right. The rest of me comes out. Refill drink.
The thing that you see is there's about 10 or so bodies just place, blood everywhere. It's an absolute massacre in here, and they made no discrimination between, children and women and men. Like, it's just a tidy mix of all of the above.
I have probably been crying quietly to myself, but seeing that brings it out a lot more. It's not going to be quietly to myself anymore. I just hid when they did this.
Courage, little one. Courage. Follow me.
Okay.
So, moving back to Anton.
Huh.
You watch this procession sort of make its way out into the village proper, and as you watched, you saw more and more and more, and even this giant pass you by in these woods. If you followed your father, you will note that out in an open clearing, they have gathered some of the village folk that made their livelihoods on the fringe and of the town, and had thrown them in these wagons and had carted them off under significant guard. But from your position in the tree line, you would be able to see the destruction of the tower, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in an alpine forest that is in the midst of a blizzard.
He spends much of his time, like, after seeing, like, the incarceration of, like, the people and stuff, and then, like, the very raw and visceral scene of carnage, like, of the town. Like, he's basically sitting there kind of stunned. He doesn't really feel it, but, like, there's there's a certain sense of fear and worry, and panic, and even, like, tears just kind of stroll down his face. Not like sobbing, but like they just kind of just roll, and he kind of just absentmindedly kind of just wipes them away as he kind of just watches for the moment, like trying to think of what to do.
How long does
If
that
his
go?
father, maybe like 15 minutes.
Okay.
If his father is taken, he'll kind of like try to if especially if they're taken off in like by wagon, um, he doesn't really so much worry about it at the moment because he figures he can come back that way later if need be. But he tries to, he forces himself to kind of move forward,
Mhm.
to closer to the village.
Okay. After the tower shatters and the blizzard sets in, the village from where you are, with the snow blind that's going on, eventually, as you sort of make your way in that direction, you know in your head which direction you're going. You feel a hand on your shoulder.
Feel what? He immediately takes his knife and turns and clutches the arm, and then kind of tries to, I guess put the knife to whoever's neck, or tries to.
Yeah. As you sort of flip around, you catch the arm, and you'll notice that it's Xander standing there looking over you. And he immediately goes, "Hush now."
Xander, what's going on?
"No time. I'll explain later. Come. You're not going to do much good out here dead."
But what about the rest of them?
There's this like almost momentary wave of emotion on his face, and he just that you've got him gripped with, and says, "Survival now. We'll talk about the rest later. Come on."
sheaths his blade, and then gives Xander a familiar tap, like a hunter's tap, like he's following, like on his side of his hip, that he's ready.
Okay. You find your way back to Xander's cabin in the snow. You've never felt cold like this in your life. You are soaked through and absolutely frigid. There is a roaring fire in this place, and when you step in, you'll notice a gnome sort of huddled over in the side, that being Nim, and an unconscious Quint and Biri are sort of straddling a bed together as easily as they can.
Ant will walk in, rubbing the sides of his arms and chattering as he quickly makes for the side of the fire, and he stands there, shivering as he looks over everybody, and if he sees like their chest rising or whatnot, at least he knows they're alive for the moment, and he kind of he'll move his gaze to Nim.
Nim is probably sitting there by the fire, warming himself, drinking, and probably rocking back and forth a little bit. This is a PTSD type reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he'll just kind of remain silent for the time being, figuring that with the way everybody just kind of looks, they ain't going to be really helpful to anybody right now, especially
You
to
fear,
themselves.
you feel a pat on your shoulder, and you hear Xander go, "Stay here, keep warm, make sure nobody gets in, unless it's me or one of the others from the town. I'm gonna go see if I can get any more survivors." And he treks out in the snow, closes the door behind him.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Were we able to check on my parents as we exited the town?
And
how dead were they if we were?
You didn't see. All of the buildings of the town were intact as you left, but it's hard to know. He wouldn't let you stop there to see. It wasn't really on the way. Blizzard going on.
Fair enough. Double checking.
Yeah, Anton will just give Xander a nod, but there's also like this question that kind of like lingers on his brows, like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna be able to do if anybody tries to come in? But he doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks at the fire and just kind of stares at it.
So after a couple of hours, Quint and Biri are one after another and awaken. It seems that Biri's sword wound has been healed by some means. This little scar right through her chest, back in a straight line.
She wakes up with her nostrils smoking, and rolls over and looks around. Her eyes are kind of white rimmed.
Yeah, it's about this time that Anton is kind of like over the fire and he's kind of tending the cooking pot. He kind of stirs whatever's in there and looks over as he hears you guys rousing.
Where? What? Where? Anton?
We're at Xander's cabin. He must have pulled all of us here.
Then we'll look over when he hears him waking up, then kind of back into the fire he's been staring at for however the hell long it's been.
She's gonna roll to her feet and look around for anything sharp or bladed.
There happens to be a hand axe on the gentleman sitting next to you.
She's gonna take Quint's hand axe.
You bitch.
With love.
There's
Where's
a lot
everybody
of
else?
destruction at the town.
What do you do, Quint?
Yeah, Quint's waking up, and at first he doesn't move much because part of his face is probably swollen and not happy. And he gets up real slow and looks around with his one good eye.
Then someone tries to steal his axe.
Yeah. And yeah, he puts a hand on his axe and looks his one good eye at Biri.
Aunt, what's going on?
I don't know. Me and my dad woke up. Our normal routine. We went out to the woods. We got spooked by some kind of, looked like a caribou, but it was just inundated with so much ice, like, and frost. It was crazy, and so we decided to go after it. But that's when my dad saw these men coming from the woods.
This needs to be a short story. I know there's a lot of men coming from the woods. Where's my family?
If it's anything like my father, they could be dead.
I haven't seen anybody. You guys are the first people I saw since this morning. And Xander.
Did you say snow? And she's going to the door. Looking for anything else bladed that she can get her hands on.
So many bodies. Women, children, man.
What? Give me a report. What did you see?
I saw a tall blue man, like 3 stories, take out the wizard's tower with some kind of bat or hammer and made it look like matchsticks when he was finished with it. Like it was nothing but like a trunk. Debris everywhere from it. And then that's when snow, like this blizzard, just overtook the city, or not the city, the town.
The sky broke.
Yes, essentially. But there was fires and stuff all over the place, and so much screaming. So much screaming.
She's gonna open the door and look out.
It is an absolute whitewash out there. You see the trees nearest the cabin, and then the shadows of the trees just beyond that, and then nothing.
She makes it sound like someone punched her in the gut. And like closes the door, but not all the way. She keeps a hand in there. What is that? Is that the sky breaking?
Yes.
Huh.
They all died.
Trust me, I'd like to go out there myself, but if it's like that, none of us are going to make it very far.
Quint, where's your family?
And he's just kind of staring absently at the ground.
Hey,
Rouses a bit.
they're in
And,
the woods. Where's your dad?
He just shakes his head.
What do you mean?
He means they're dead.
There's a woman. This big bow and black-tipped arrows. And she shot him.
Why?
There was a man with her. He had goggles and a funny haircut. And he said it was business.
Whose business?
I don't know. He said something about plans, something about a Karna. I don't know.
Do we know anything about a Karna?
Roll
Is
me
that-
religion.
You said religion?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Do we all need to roll that, or
No.
okay?
Ring a bell to either of you. You only really know about Diara, goddess of light and life. Thanks to Sandra and her weekly.
Anybody else hear anything about Karna? Anything?
It's about this time that Anton starts taking spoonfuls of whatever's in the pot and starts putting it into bowls and then hands them over to them one by one.
Blackblades. The ones who came to the farm had blackblades.
Nim kind of takes the offered soup, but he doesn't really hold it. He just kind of puts it down in front of him. Almost like more of a controlled fall than actually consciously placing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anton just kind of takes his and kind of like sits at the. I guess there's like some kind of table, and he kind of just lazily like rests up against it on his forearms.
Did the ones at the farm, they were wearing armor, did it have sigils on it? Andrew?
The one that appeared to be leading them had the crest of a blackened skull on the shoulder,
Okay.
and all of their capes had the silver fist.
Okay. She's going to reach into the fire and pull out a brand and start drawing the skull and the fist on the hearth in front of the fire. Is this what you saw? Anything like this? Any of you?
Oh, the clenched fist.
Quint points to the fist.
The skull was the leader. Any idea? Anybody know who that is? Anybody know anything about any legends, any stories your families have told?
Mm-mm. No.
No, but Quint knows a couple of names.
Mm-hmm. The man with the goggles. His name. And he's rubbing the good side of his head as he tries to struggle with his memories. He says, De Grey, something like De Grey. And he called the elven woman with the bow. She was Vazra.
Biri's gonna go forward and try and wrap up Quint in a quick hug. That's maybe not so quick if he doesn't seem to mind.
Yeah, he's slow to react, but he does.
It's about this time that the door slams open and the wind, snow everywhere. And you see the large form of Sandra holding up Xander, who looks grievously wounded.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who holding up Xander?
Sandra, the priestess.
It's about that time when that happens that like Ant stands up and with his hunting knife drawn, like ready to like for one pitch that hot soup at them,
Aw.
and two, like he holds that blade up like he's gonna murder somebody like in a horror movie, like he's ready just to blitz them until he sees that he sees Sandra and Xavier and Xander.
And just behind them, you see sort of skulk inside, off to the side.
Who skulked in? Sorry.
Marin.
Biri's gonna go and try and take Xander to free up the
Down.
priestess's arms.
And Sandra looks around at all of you and says, "I'm glad you made it." And heads back out into the snow, and then Marin closes the door behind them.
Our families.
Marin sort of just shrugs, and Xander says, "Impossible to tell till the storm clears."
Get him in
She's-
bed.
I'm gonna try very carefully to carry him to the bed.
I assume that you have space and you are able to lay him down, and then Marin comes over to him and begins to pull out some poultices, which she begins to apply to his wounds.
Yeah, Xander or not Anton goes about taking like his boots and stuff off and socks or whatever he might wear to kind of like get it off him so it can dry and stuff so he doesn't like catch a cold either. Wrap him up a little bit.
Who hurt
And
you?
just,
Sorry.
One of the enemy dogs.
Well, what'd he say?
One of the enemy dogs.
Can you spell that? Medox?
Enemy dogs.
Oh. With all due respect, sir, we have enemies?
I mean, we do now, but moreover, like, who are they? Why did they do that to our village? If not Xander, Marin, Sandra?
Sandra left.
Oh. She looks to Marin.
past grievances with one of yours.
Sorry, one of who? You couldn't cut out.
One of their leaders.
Is this about last night?
She turns and looks at them and says, "No, but I pray that we had been more prepared."
Did you guys know this was going to happen?
It was always a possibility.
Is your grandfather all right?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
We've all suffered losses.
You knew this was a possibility, and you didn't say anything, and you didn't do anything?
She looks at Quint, visibly like startled by the sudden upturn. Xander goes, "Easy, son."
I don't know where my sisters are.
I think
where
it's...
my brother is, where my mother is. But I know where my dad is. Face down in the snow with 2 arrows in him somewhere.
Anton stands and give Quint a reaffirming grasp on his shoulder.
Who's Karna?
Marin sort of looks your way, surprised, and then says, "Their foul god."
What does the god want? Do they? There's
Though I suspect that is not their aim.
And what about the men and women with the black blades?
Hands up with a grimace and says, "I think it's time that we told you. We were adventurers once. Like in the stories. Me, Marin here, Damien, and Sandra. And we made enemies, and we thought we could hide, but they found us.
So you made this idyllic village with all these people, and you just kept us in the dark?
Ramos's magic was incredibly powerful. I don't know how they managed to.
If one person can get a level of power, what's to stop another?
When one is looking for a single coin in a dragon's hoard, you would think it would be a task left well enough alone.
Before today, I might have agreed.
Will the storm stop?
Yes.
What was keeping us from being found?
Magic.
Prosperity.
Marin looks over at him and nods.
Why did it glow?
Oh.
It was a powerful anchor, she says, to create an entire plane of existence within another.
Biri whistles softly.
Oh no.
That's some kind of hiding.
Our messing with that thing, prosperity, didn't cause this, did it?
Tower did.
Okay.
A bad portent, maybe, but nothing you could have ever foreseen.
So how long until the storm ends? Any idea?
Hours, days. It's hard to know.
Where did Sandra go? Is she getting more survivors? Can we help her?
Sandra is capable of feats that you're not, unfortunately. Going out there, you'll freeze within 15 minutes.
What can we do?
Many of the townsfolk, your families, our families, were scattered. I don't know where Ramos is. Damien has likely been captured or killed. Xander may not make it. Sandra provides healing.
Do you know where they took them? I saw a cart with a cage. Where? Are they in?
Elsewhere. Xander sort of leans forward and says, the question is, what are you going to do about it?
We need to get our town back. We need to get our families back. One way or another.
He looks at Quint.
A drop of blood of theirs for every drop of ours that was spilt. Twofold if I can.
How about you, Biri?
She's eyeballing the bed and the sheets. Very, very thoughtfully. I could probably wrap up pretty well. Make it more than 15 minutes.
None of the stuff.
Might be
in
hard on
here
your
is gonna
sheets,
last-
though.
last out there.
I can't just sit here.
If we go out there, we die. or they capture us.
I know this wilderness. You're not trained for this sort of survival.
Well, maybe if you'd trained us instead of hiding it. No.
Speak your mind, little one.
I think what he's getting at, if you guys are adventurers, teach us.
That's the spirit. I had the same thought. The Blackblades dealt us a blow, one from which we may not recover. We can't let all the people of Ruewick die, scattered to the winds.
Is this world so bad that we need to hide away from it, like children from the darkness?
Not anymore.
The world is a harsh place. Men can make their way and make their living. Whatever these men are doing, normal, and it's not natural.
Biri's nostrils are smoking gently. Her eyes are burning not gently.
Xander looks over to Marin, who sort of just sighs and says, well, I suppose that we find survivors. They will go whether we help them or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Damn right. I'll pee on every one of them.
Smile at that. Very well then.
And I swear that by all the salt in me and my name.
For pity's sake, someone teach Anton to use a sword before he tries to stab someone else with that thing.
Much to teach and much to learn and much work to be done in the village, burying the dead, taking stock. It will not be easy.
Ready to grind my hands and feet into nothing but nubs if need be.
Quint tries to push himself onto his feet using the wall. And as soon as he gets to his feet, he's going to point to the fire. He's going to say, "It's not going to burn forever. I know what I have to do. Same thing I've always done."
At him and just knowing that he probably couldn't stop him if he wanted to, he'll just nod and say, "Careful out there. The cold will kill you before you even realize it." At a time.
He nods.
I suppose I owe the people in that tap house something for failing them today.
We all do.
You weren't there.
I meant more in the village sense, but
You weren't hiding while they slaughtered everybody.
courage is learned.
You know,
Nim, I hid while they took my father. Though I don't know if he's actually dead. Last time I saw him, he was alive, but still, like, no better.
they asked about my family. I stayed hidden. They came in and took half the people out and killed the rest. I stayed hidden. Not again. Not again.
That's the spirit, little one. You're going to need that resolve. And with that, the ends away with Quint turning shoulder to the wind with his axe, trying to get enough wood to make it through the night. And
Anton will go with him, just so there's somebody else with him.
that is